Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats, and I'm sure you've been keeping up with this week. You've been knowing that we've been reviewing movies from the year 1999, and the one I decided to go ahead and go along with is a fun little sequel, at least I think it is, uh, to Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez's amazing vampire film from Dusk Till Dawn. So obviously, I pretty much give it away. I am talking about From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. And lots of action, yeah, pretty good amount, and a lot of fun too. Um, this movie here, it does have a kind of some of the similar vibe of the first movie in that, it's on the one hand, it's a vampire horror film, but it's kind of also mixed with, kind of a cops and robbers kind of a thing. And, you know, yeah, the movie starts off, even though it says from Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, they're only on here as the executive producers. The movie is actually co-written and directed by Scott Spiegel, who all of us horror fans we all know he's the co-writer of Evil Dead 2 with Sam Raimi, and he wrote and directed the classic Intruder. So of course us horror fans we know who he is, and uh, personally I even reading that back in Fangoria that he was going to be the director of this one, I felt like, oh, we were going to have some fun with this one. And in my opinion, this movie doesn't disappoint. This movie is a good fun ride, a good 90 minutes worth. And the movie starts off, you get a fun little cameo with, it starts off in the big city, and, there's a law building, and we're introduced to two characters. One is played by Bruce Campbell, gets a fun little cameo, and the other one is Tiffany Amber Thiessen, who, in a way, like watching the opening scenes, I can't help but kind of feel sorry for Tiffany Amber Thiessen, because what ends up happening is their characters, they get into this elevator, and they're talking about like they're representing this client who's they know is guilty and all this stuff, even though Bruce Campbell's character is like, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. So they're in this elevator and they get stuck. And so Bruce Campbell's like, I'll try to see if I can figure a way to get us out of here. And he opens up the lid to the top of the elevator, and a dead body falls in, and it's clear that the body's been attacked by vampire bats. And so, he's like, oh, I'm going to try to get us out of here. And so, he gets attacked and gets killed off. And sorry, spoiler, but and then Tiffany Amber Thiessen, the reason why, she starts getting attacked by vampire bats. And the reason why I say I feel sorry for her is like, oh my God, like the scene tends to go on a bit. And, you could tell like she must have spent like hours like screaming and fighting, vampire bats and stuff like this. So you could kind of tell, it's like, yeah, they probably put her through it a little bit, which it makes sense, because Scott Spiegel comes from that, Sam Raimi school of filmmaking and everything else, where it's like, yeah, you got to make the actors suffer a little bit. So kind of makes it sound that way. So anyway, so now we're introduced to our main character, Buck, who's played by Robert Patrick here. Of course, we all, come on, man, who doesn't love Robert Patrick? We all love him from T2 and all the great stuff he's done. So hell yeah, it's like, good stuff. And so he plays Buck, and he's with this girl that he's I don't know if it's his girlfriend, just a hookup or whatever, but uh, they're looking at the TV and they notice that Luther, played by Duane Whittaker, who also co-wrote the script of this movie with Scott Spiegel. Duane Whittaker, if you don't know who he is, the guy's in everything. He's been in some of Rob Zombie's movies like H2 and Devil's Rejects and stuff like that. He was, of course, I'm pretty sure he's mostly known as, the owner of the pawn shop in Pulp Fiction. So, I mean, oh, he's been in zillions of movies, TV stuff. So, anyway, it turns out that Luther is, a buddy of Buck's, and, he managed to break free and kill a guard, and he's on the loose. And so, which caught the attention of I'm trying to, I think he's just a sheriff, but Otis, who's played by Bo Hopkins, right there. And Otis is on the, he's trying to find Luther. And so he comes to Buck and figures that Buck is, knows where Luther is and all this stuff. And, but, Buck is able to kind of, throw him off the track and stuff. And then, as fate would have it, he gets a call from, Luther, and then Luther says, "Hey, I'm checking out I'm casing this bank down here in Mexico. I think we can break in, and we need a team. We need like safe crackers, stuff like that. But I think we can get in here. We can, everybody get a nice chunk of change out of this robbery." So Buck goes and assembles a team. He brings in CW, played by Muse Watson, who everybody will remember from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Jesus, played by Raymond Cruz, who's yeah, he's right there. Yeah, and so and then who else was there? Ray Bob, played by Brett Harrelson, who's I believe is Woody Harrelson's brother in real life. So they assemble this team and they go down to Mexico and they're waiting for Luther to show up. Well, Luther is driving, at night, and he ends up hitting a bat, and he, gets out. He's like looking and everything else, and he sees the bat and he shoots it, thinking he killed it. So he's like, well, my damn it, my Jeep is down, so I gotta huff it. So he walks down and he comes across the titty twister. One thing that is kind of vague about this movie is I'm not entirely sure. I think this is supposed to be after the events of the first movie, and I think so anyway. But anyway, he goes to the T Twister, and he comes across Razor Charlie, who's Danny Trejo's character from the first from Dusk Till Dawn. The only thing is though is like in this one here is like if you see Danny Trejo, this is in the first from Dusk Till Dawn, he had his short hair. By this time, Danny Trejo's got his long hair, and so he goes in there to get a drink, and he talks about he hit a bat and everything, and so Danny Trejo, of course, is intrigued by this. Is like, okay, he's like, where is this bat? He's like, if you want, I'll give you a ride. I get off work in half an hour. He's like, hey, thanks, man. So they're en route, and so Danny Trejo actually takes him back to his Jeep, where he finds that the bat is actually a friend of his who's a vampire, and they end up, you know, they end up attacking, Luther and turn him into a vampire. And so, he goes back to, unfortunately, even though Danny Trejo is featured pretty prominently here on the cover, he's maybe in the movie all of 10 minutes. Not a very huge part in this, but, basically he and the Titty Twister are basically here to connect the first movie, or to connect this sequel to the first movie, really. So Luther goes back, and he starts starts the slow process of trying to turn everybody into vampires. So they go and they start doing this bank job, and they're breaking in, and like I said, as they're getting this, getting the bank robbery done and everything, he's one by one he's turning he's turning most of the robbers into vampires, and it's getting to a point where getting to where Buck is basically kind of the last man standing against all these vampires, and then Otis shows up to to arrest him, and then it turns out now you got this criminal Buck who has to he has to take sides with this lawman and everything and fight against these vampires. And so that you come to a big epic showdown, and I think I'm going to leave it there, and I'm not going to say any more. But honestly, this movie really is a great time, and like I said, it's not going to hold up as well as the first movie, because obviously, because the first movie, you had directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by Quentin Tarantino, but I mean, still, for a direct-to-video sequel, this is actually really, a really spiffy production if you think about it. I mean, you look at the talent that you have in this movie. You have good name actors in here. Robert Patrick, Bo Hopkins, Danny Trejo, on and on. You have some really good talent here, and while you could tell the movie is a little bit low budget, it's not like non-budget or anything like that. I mean, a lot of the film takes place mostly at either the motel that they're staying at, or at the bank when they go to rob the bank. But and of course, if you're a fan of Scott Spiegel, you definitely got the K&B gore. You got the vampire effects and everything else. If you're a fan of Scotty Spiegel and his style of directing films, especially like if you love, Intruder and the way he directed, like a lot of the creative shots that he did, he does the same thing in here. A lot of inventive shots and lots of weird point of view shots you normally would not get, like at one point Raymond Cruz's character slits a vampire's throat, and it's like you can see like, the shot from inside the wound open up and everything, and you get some really good stuff. And but like I said, um, yeah, I don't think it's gonna really hold up as much as the first one, but still, this is a good fun time, and I personally enjoy it. I have fun with this movie, and I think if I remember correctly, I think Spiegel basically described the film as Dog Day Afternoon with vampires, and I can kind of see that, but. Honestly, I do think that this is a good time, and I would say, yeah, if you're a fan of From Dusk Till Dawn, check it out. Personally, I liked all three of the From Dusk Till Dawn movies. I mean, obviously the first one was the best, but I thought two and three definitely was not without its charm. I mean, I've definitely seen series, horror films where the sequels were, really, really like piss poor compared to the first film. So yeah, and I think that considering the talent involved, I think we ended up with a good film. So I would say, yeah, if you love From Dusk Till Dawn, check out Dusk Till Dawn too. I think you'll still have a good time with it. So anyway, so that's going to pretty much do it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, could you please leave it a like? If you haven't already, please go and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I am the Saturday reviewer, and I'm honored to be here. I'm happy to be here, and this is a lot of fun, and I hope to keep doing this for quite some time to come. So that's it, everybody. So take care, have a good night, and I'll see you later.